you hear me? Happy Thursday!
Happy Thursday. I feel like it was just Monday. I don't know where the weeks go anymore.
Oh my gosh, Heather, how fast is everything starting to move in our industry right now?
Oh, it's quick, man. I'm feeling it already. I knew it was coming. It was kind of like calm before the storm. It's like, here we go. But it's exciting. It's kind of like, hey, to play into our theme a little today, it's kind of like sports, right? Where you're preparing for the game and the excitement starts to come. And you know what's coming and all that. So I think it's exciting.
Oh, isn't it though? And as long as you've been in the industry, have you ever seen it this busy in July?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't. But I mean, every year is a little different, right? I think that speaks a little to this year about the openness that people have to looking deeper at their benefit package and their employee engagement. And so, yeah, we're definitely seeing that happening that we thought I would, but we're seeing it now, which is great.
Well, we knew it was going to happen, but all of a sudden all spigots are on, right?
Yeah.
Talking to carriers, and we are getting RFPs back in a couple of days, which is fantastic. But now some carriers, it might take 2 weeks. And it's because everybody's going to market. There's so much change happening right now. It is exciting. Renewals have been released for the medical side. And we just got to hold on. And this is what we prepared for, but it's interesting. So anyways, let's talk about what we're going to talk about, because we got 13 minutes left to talk about teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? One of our favorite things here to discuss. So a couple notes. First and foremost, we do run this this EBIS Live and Unfiltered every month, and we do it ideally on the fourth Thursday, sometimes the last Thursday, depending upon our schedules, but with the fourth Thursday. So put it on your calendar and join us if you can. If not, you can always watch it later. We'd love to hear some comments from you. This is new, so we will promote it a little bit more as we move forward. Okay, so now imagine this. I'm going to relate this to our industry. Imagine walking into a boardroom and you have the CEO, the CFO, the director of HR, and potentially more individuals sitting there, and you have to walk in and give a presentation to them about their benefits. Why should they change? Or maybe why should their engagement strategy change? And imagine going in by yourself and how that would feel. Now, imagine having the power of a team behind you that can help listen to the audience and also really specialize in certain pieces of the business or of the strategy. How would that feel? Well, what feels better? Some, you know what, you might want to be that one-man band or do it all on your own. But I think most of us, the power of the team behind us just gives us the confidence that we need to move forward. And really, not just for us, but think about it from the perspective of the client. When you have a team behind you versus yourself, what does that look and feel like for them? So, okay, I know that was a little bit intense, but that really goes with our industry, right? Heather, have you ever sat in front of a board before, and how does that feel? And
well, I was going to say, I mean, you are speaking from personal experience. I mean, I've definitely been in similar situations, but I know that you've been in many of those, sitting in that boardroom, and it can be quite intense, and you want to be prepared. And I do think it's better received to have a full team, because people know that in order to have a lot of the resources that are desired, that a lot of times it just can't be taken care of by one person. And so there is that power, even just the perception from the employer, whoever's making those decisions, to see that there's a full team of people that can support what they need.
Yeah. So it's different for all of us, right? But what works best for you? So let's talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of working as an individual, and then we'll jump into the team aspect. So what are some of the disadvantages that you see as working as an individual versus having a team behind you?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's pros and cons to both. It really depends on what you're looking to achieve. I mean, if I'm going to liken it again to our industry, being in the voluntary benefit space for 12 years, I've done both the individual and the team thing.
Yeah.
And of course, the downsides of not having a team is bandwidth, right? I mean, we're only one person and we all are given 24 hours in a day. So while we might be able to get a little more efficient, there comes a point where you just can't take care of it all. And that never feels good, because that means you're either stretching yourself to try and get, the volume and all of that you'd like, and not being able to efficiently take care of everyone, or you are limited to what you could actually take care of, which is okay for many people. But if you really want that expansion, unfortunately, just being an individual doesn't work, especially even when you're running on all cylinders. That's great, but then what happens when something happens in your life? We're all human. Then you don't have someone potentially to support you when you're out, which is also a tough thing. And now, a client or someone might be sitting there needing help that can't be given.
Well, and then think about the support as an individual, right? So you and I work together with Jackie and our team, because instead of being by ourselves, because we like the support of each other, just even mentally and inspiration, and get it done. And you know what? Stop making excuses. Let's just go do it. I think that when you're by yourself, you miss some of that, especially if that's your personality, where you like that, like you and I, of course.
Like me. Yeah. No, I definitely thrive off that. And, I think that was much more apparent even in the current situation we have, right, with the global pandemic and people working from home. And while, of course, we still had teamwork, and I'm sure a lot of other people did, it was still a different feeling, I'm sure, for most, to be sitting siloed, individually at home or whatever on camera or doing your own thing, versus being in a group environment. And so that kind of goes across the board, regardless of who we're talking to, I think, just in business in general right now. But many people do thrive off that. But again, some people would prefer to work on their own, right? There are advantages to that, right? I'm sure we could come up with quite a few.
Yeah, just a couple quick ones, because we need to jump into the team side here. Is you can go fast, you can maneuver quick, you can make decisions right now. So there's a lot of advantages to working as an individual without that team, but I don't know if they outweigh the disadvantages or not. It probably depends on your industry, what you do, your personality, and there's a lot there.
Definitely.
But as we start to tackle on big projects and really long-term goals, I personally think that the power of the team makes all the difference, because it helps us get there.
Right.
And Joe B always used to tell me that Joe Bozello would always say, you know what? Motivation comes from within. I fully agree. However, it's a lot easier to be motivated when you have people around you, pushing you or pulling you, or because we're not always at our best at any given moment. Right.
And there's some accountability there, really, is what you're saying as well, right? That if I'm being held accountable to other team members, that's going to drive me to get things done many times much more than if I just told myself I had to do it, right? Or someone wasn't checking in on me, or I wasn't feeling like I was letting anyone down but myself. And I think that's similar personalities to a lot of people that that thrive in that team environment, and really just the excitement of it, right? I mean, I've always been a big fan of sports and playing on a team. It doesn't have to be sport related. Even, again, going back to our AFLAC days, I enjoyed leading a team and having those team celebration of wins and progression and evolution, and kind of doing it all together, specifically for AFLAC. But again, likening that to sports, I think majority of us need a little bit of that fulfillment that we get from coming together as a team, and that's just a different experience than doing things on your own.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, sports is interesting because we could relate it to, or my girls like dance. So Sadie, my youngest, she loves dance. She has a lot of fun with it, but the solo dance, dancing by yourself, is fun and unique, but you don't really have that same energy as having the team dance.
Right.
And quite honestly, I probably wouldn't have related to this as much, Heather, except for in the past a couple of years having daughters. Of course, it's changed my whole perception. But it's a different story. Or basketball, it might be when you're shooting free throws, it's all on you. But when you're out on the court, you got the whole team to work together. But I wanted to bring it back to our industry. So I think the power of a team really helps us not only get through our own challenges, it pushes us to think differently. So we don't have that same think all the time. It also allows us as individuals to really focus in certain areas if we have a team behind us. So we like to talk about GAs where we've seen a lot of great GAs out there in the health insurance space. And you know what? Our health partners work with GAs because they provide them so much value. They go out, shop the carriers for them. A lot of times they might give them some suggestions or ideas, and but they're there to give them that power of the team, even if they're one person, right?
Right.
So we can find teams in whatever we do. You just have to find the team that's going to work with you in your space that's going to help you achieve your goals.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I think kind of keeping it with our industry, you know, from what I've seen, I think most can probably relate, is that it's just gotten more and more complicated over the years, right? And there's become more of a need for that specialization and kind of difficult to do it all yourself. And so back to your point of people being able to be specialized, it really allows the person to stay in that specialization, or you know, sometimes we say center of genius, right? That person on the team that's meant to do these things, you know, if you take them away to spend half their time over here on something they're not as great at, then why not, you know, have someone else do that and keep them over here? And to me, that's a big value of the team. And we even see that on our own team. And we even see that even more right now. You know, when one of the team is out, you see that you can pick up and support that person while they're out, but it really shows you what that team member does for your team, right? And how beneficial it can be to allow them to do that so that you can stay over here and do that. And back to, as we wind down, you know, I think we both talked about it a little offline. I mean, we believe so strongly in the team that that's really how we created our whole model of EBIS, right? I mean, as we decided to pivot, we could have went and done our own things and kind of had our own organization. But I know that I'm so much better when I have team members, as we said. And I truly believe that is the way of the future for our industry. Again, we staked our whole company on it, right? And this belief that the team approach and the partnership approach is what is going to serve the client best, and to keep business and to collaborate. And so again, that's really when we say what it means to us, right? Part of our title, for me, it means a lot. And we staked our whole company on it, and success. And I know we will be successful with that team approach, because that's really the way it needs to be in our industry, as far as my opinion goes.
Well, thank you. And what it means to me is that we can win together, and we can also specialize, like you talked about. The football team, or actually a football or baseball or whatever it is, they're all specialized at their space. Doesn't mean that we can't play other spaces, but we get really good at one, and then we center on that, or we work on that, so the team can count on us to do our job well. So I love teams. I get goosebumps over it. Whether it's us partnering with others outside the industry, internally, or really even team sports, which is what my daughters are learning right now. So I want to leave with this little last thing to think about is, we're more of I don't know if everybody should know this, or I should tell people, but I was not a fan of Michael Jordan growing up. I grew up in Oregon, okay? It was the Blazers. So Michael Jordan was not my thing. But you know what? Michael Jordan was a fantastic player. He was a good player, but he became a great player when he started working with the team and being a team player. And they got 6 championships, or he's got 6 championships to prove it. But when he worked as a team, they crushed it. When he worked by himself, they did okay. So at least that's my opinion. And now I am a fan of Michael Jordan, by the way, since I'm not in Oregon anymore. But I think that makes sense. And we have a quote that a friend used to always tell us.
Yes.
And Hakeem Crosby, I want to give a shout out to you, because he always used to tell us, you know what, as an individual, we can go fast. We can get there quick. But as a team, we can go further than we ever thought possible. So thank you all. Have a fantastic rest of July, and we look forward to seeing you all soon.
All right. See you next month.